Imagine opening your front door to find three strangers armed with clipboards and measuring tapes, declaring your backyard a violation zone under some made-up rulebook, all while smirking like they've got the law in their pocket. That's exactly what happened to me. Alex Rivera, a guy who'd spent years quietly fixing up his modest suburban home in Willow Creek, only to become the neighborhood's whispered villain thanks to rumors spread by the self-righteous HOA queen herself. But oh, how the tables turned when I decided silence wasn't golden anymore. It was time for a calculated comeback that left her empire of petty rules crumbling in the dust. I never asked for the spotlight. Hell, I avoided it like a bad HOA fine. For years, I'd been the guy who kept his head down in this so-called peaceful suburb outside Phoenix, Arizona. Willow Creek looked picture-perfect on the surface: manicured lawns, matching mailboxes, kids on bikes chasing ice cream trucks. But underneath, it was a pressure cooker of nosy neighbors and arbitrary edicts from the Homeowners Association, where forgetting to trim your hedges could earn you a scarlet letter. Me, I bought my place 5 years back after a messy divorce, pouring sweat into turning the overgrown lot into something livable. A small vegetable garden out back, a wooden fence I built myself, even a bird feeder that attracted more squirrels than birds. Simple stuff. But rumors started swirling early. That Rivera's hiding something, they'd whisper at block parties I never attended. Probably dodging taxes or running some shady operation, all because I didn't kiss the ring of the HOA board. And at the helm of that gossip machine, Karen Whitaker, the undisputed HOA president, a woman who treated bylaws like holy scripture and her neighbors like sinners in need of salvation. Karen was the epitome of suburban tyranny wrapped in a polite smile. Mid-50s, always in pastel blazers with those cheap pearl necklaces that screamed, "I'm important." She patrolled the streets in her hybrid SUV, notepad at the ready. She'd fine you for a pink flamingo lawn ornament because it disrupted community aesthetics, or slap a lien on your house if your garage door color was one shade off the approved palette. But she preached community harmony at every meeting, quoting rules like a televangelist. "We're all in this together," she'd say, while secretly emailing anonymous complaints to amp up the drama. Fear kept her in power. Folks paid up to avoid her wrath, whispering about how she'd once gotten a family evicted over an unapproved swing set. Me, I wasn't even in the HOA jurisdiction. My property sat on the edge, a holdout from when the development stopped short. But that didn't stop the rumors. "Rivera's yard is an eyesore," she'd tell anyone who'd listen. "It's bringing down property values." I heard it all through the grapevine, but I stayed quiet. Watched. Waited. Because rushing and hot-headed gets you nowhere with folks like her. Patience, I learned from my days as a logistics manager, is the sharpest weapon. That all changed on a crisp Saturday morning. I was sipping coffee on my porch, watching the sun creep over the fence, when a silver minivan pulled up like it owned the curb. Out spilled 3 figures. Karen in her signature beige jacket, pearls swinging like pendulums, flanked by 2 burly guys who looked like they'd wandered off a home improvement show set, one clutching a measuring tape, the other a clipboard stacked with forms. They marched up my walkway without a hello, eyes scanning my yard like it was a crime scene. Before they could knock, I swung the door open, arms crossed. "Can I help you?" I asked, voice flat as the Arizona desert. Karen tilted her head, that condescending smile plastered on. "Mr. Rivera, good morning. I'm Karen Whitaker, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. These are my associates, Here for a routine compliance inspection under Section 4.2 of the Neighborhood Enhancement Protocol. She said it like it was gospel, ignoring the fact my house wasn't under their thumb. The tape measure guy started eyeing my fence, while clipboard man jotted notes furiously. I scratched my chin, feigning confusion. Enhancement what? Last I checked. My deed says I'm independent. No HOA strings attached. She waved a manicured hand dismissively. Oh, we're expanding our oversight. Your property borders our community, and that fence is 2 inches too short per standard guidelines. Those tomato plants in the back unregistered produce growth. And don't get me started on that bird feeder. It's attracting wildlife that could pose a health risk. Her voice dripped with faux concern, like she was doing me a favor by pointing out my flaws. I felt the old anger bubble, but I kept it cool. Inside, my daughter Mia, home from college for the weekend, was peeking through the blinds, phone ready. She'd seen me handle pushy vendors at work. She knew the drill. Expanding. Ha, I replied, leaning on the doorframe. Sounds like overreaching to me. You've got about 10 seconds to explain why you're on my property before I call it trespassing. Her eyes narrowed, but the smile held. Mr. Rivera, you received our pre-inspection notice via certified mail. Non-compliance could result in fines up to $500 per infraction. The guys shifted uncomfortably, but Karen stood firm, shoving a laminated sheet my way. This outlines our authority. I took the paper, glanced at the jargon, words like aesthetic conformity and communal integrity, and chuckled softly. Authority? This reads like a bad HOA fanfic. Then, in one smooth motion, I grabbed a stapler from the porch table. I'd been fixing a screen door, walked to the nearest fence post, and stapled the sheet upside down. There. Now it's modern art. Fits your enhancement vibe. Karen's face flushed beet red, pearls jiggling as she sputtered. You can't deface official documents. This is obstruction. The tape guy backed up a step, nearly dropping his tool, while clipboard bolted toward the van. But Karen, she planted her feet. We're just enforcing order. For the greater good. Didn't obstruct, I said calmly. Repurposed. Now, unless you've got a real warrant. Skedaddle. Mia's camera caught it all, the freeze, the staple, the retreat. By lunch, she'd uploaded it to TikTok. HOA Karen tries to annex dad's yard. Gets served instead. Views climbed fast. Comments flooding in. Legendary clapback. Give that man a medal. But I wasn't popping champagne. Bullies like Karen don't quit. They regroup. That night, over pizza, Mia asked, "Think she'll back off?" I shook my head, staring at my old property deed on the table. Nah. She's got that clipboard ego. We'll need more than viral shame. Sure enough, she didn't waste time. While I tinkered in the garage the next day, Mia burst in. Dad, check this out. On her phone, a neighborhood Facebook group was buzzing. Karen had posted emergency updates, photoshopped maps showing my yard swallowed by HOA lines, fake violation logs citing my non-conforming garden as a blight risk. She'd even scheduled a community forum at the rec center to discuss expansion for safety. Comments were split. Some laughed it off. Others bought her spiel. We need standards. But Mia grinned. Her board is just her book club pals. Look at the attendance for RSVPs, including her cat lady sister. I grunted, wiping grease from my hands. Public theater. But let's not underestimate. She's building a narrative. We countered quietly. Mia shared the real deed online, captioning, HOA myths busted. What actual property lines look like. A local lawyer chimed in. This screams fraud. She's toast if reported. Views snowballed, turning our quiet standoff into a suburb spectacle. Still, Karen escalated. By afternoon, a drone buzzed over my backyard, sleek, unmarked, dipping low to snap pics of my fence and garden beds. Mia's spotting it first, she yelled from the window. I grabbed a broom, attached to old bedsheet, and waited like a fly swatter pro. When it looped back, I swung whack, tangled and crashed into the dirt. Memory card inside, full of zoomed-in shots of my violations, even the keypad on my shed. She's spying, Mia whispered, eyes wide. Building ammo. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line. Deputy Ramirez sighed. Again with Whitaker, she's always skirting lines. Send the footage, we'll log it. But I knew she'd deny it. Claim aerial surveying for community planning. That evening, 2 goons in faux official vests showed up at my gate. Badges reading Compliance Patrol. HOA sanctioned entry for assessment. The beefy one barked, clipboard in tow. You're kidding, I said, blocking the latch. You're rent-a-cops with delusions. Step back. The shorter one reached anyway. That's when my rescue mutt, Buster, let out a guttural growl, lunging just short of his boot. The guy yelped, hostile animal, violation. I smirked. Buster's just welcoming committee. Smile for the camera. Mia filmed it all. Uploading, HOA hires thugs. Meet the real gatekeeper. Viral again. Petitions rolled in to boot Karen from her throne. She clapped back online, staged harassment, but digs uncovered her HOA site was a fresh WordPress with a donation button, pure grift. The climax hit like a monsoon. Next morning, an official-looking SUV arrived, 2 county suits up front, Karen trailing with a smug folder. Formal inspection under Order 7G, she announced, beaming. We've got provisional access. I eyed the paper they thrust. This? Your DIY warrant. Mia translated. Fake as her pearls. I stalled, letting them inspect under my watch. No touches, no photos. When a suit strayed into my garden, trampling veggies, Buster barked. Sirens wailed. Sheriff Ramirez arrived midstream. Mia was live. No warrant? Trespassing. He shredded their order. Private hacks. Not officials. And you, Whitaker, cited for fraud and damage. Karen's facade cracked. Face pale. Pearls forgotten. They slunk off empty-handed. Fines in pocket. Views hit 50K. News picked it up as suburban standoff. HOA overreach exposed. Her board dissolved. Credentials yanked. Mia's channel boomed with boundary battles tips. Weeks later, quiet returned too quiet. Then Karen's car crept up. Plain clothes, envelope in hand. I was wrong, she muttered. Thought I was helping. I stared. You weren't. Just power tripping. She left the resignation. Notarized. Real? Maybe. But I didn't care. We barbecued with neighbors, projecting the montages. Cheers for Buster's growl. Laughs at Karen's flop. The yard felt freer. Not because rules changed, but because everyone saw they were hers alone. So, here's the kicker. Was Karen the villain for enforcing order? Or was I wrong for fighting back? Drop your take. Compliance or resistance? Who's really trespassing in suburbia?